Good evening, everyone, or welcome back to another stream. I hope you are all well. That picture you saw up on there was Eggs Benedict, for anyone asking what on earth it is. I hope you're all well. Good to see you all back. Thank you, all of you who are already in the chat waiting for the stream to start. I much appreciate it. All the feedback in there as well, Mark. I do like the new waiting music. It's a little bit calmer, which I like before the stream, but I appreciate it. But yeah, if you guys don't follow me over on Twitter, there's a link in the description to all my socials, actually. For anyone who doesn't follow me over on TikTok, go and do that there. There's a link in the description which will take you to like my Linktree page, which is all my socials on it. Go and check that out. But yeah, that's in the description. In terms of my game week last week, 100 points on the nose. I was Googling Eggs Benedict so I could show you guys what it looks like, which we'll do in a second. But this was my team last week. 100 points. Was pretty pleased with it. If you're on Twitter though, it's a bit like everyone else smashed like 100, 120. It's pretty tough like having that bubble around me. I haven't really felt it before apart from this game week, but yeah, still pretty pleased with it. 377k, happy with that. We'll go on to the next game weeks. As it is, probably going to run my free transfer, as my video said yesterday if you haven't watched it. But we'll get in and say hello to a few of you guys right now, and then we will get into answering all of your questions as well. So start firing the hellos as well as the questions in the chat. So, how long should you hold on to Gundogan for? It sounds like he's going to play, so you kind of got to give him... Norwich. Is it super blurry? See if you can change the setting, because when it's on like 360 it is. 101, great to see you in the 100 point club, really like that. 104, welcome Scott. The Smiths, 106 points. You talked yourself out of Ricardo Pereira, so that's slightly unfortunate, but he got points last week, didn't he? I need to get Jack Grealish. The thing is with City assets, I know a lot of you guys are looking at jumping on City players, and although I think they're really good assets this week, I just don't know who's going to be playing long term. That would be the problem, and every week I don't want that sort of headache of who's going to be playing as a Man City asset. So yeah, at the moment, if you've got them this week, great, but I'm not planning on bringing one in, and I wouldn't worry about sort of changing your team so drastically to try and get one in. You think choosing Bruno as a captain is better than Salah? So I'm on Salah. If I show you my team for next week, Salah is my game week 2 captain as of now. FPL graduates, Nim, welcome. Thank you for joining. Bruno or Salah captain? I'm on Salah at the moment. 96 this is the thing, like 96 is a really good score, and I imagine it would have put you at a rank of like I don't know what your rank is, but it would be 600-700k in the top million definitely, and that's always the aim by game week 1. I always want top 2 million, game week sort of 5, then the top sort of 1 million, and then you can push on from there. So a 96 is still a great score. Trophy, welcome. Thank you all for joining. Should you transfer out Jota? No, there's a chance he doesn't start. So my predicted lineup thread that I get done every week, and there's a fan from every team that pulls together a team. I do have Jota not starting in it, but it's still to be confirmed. We might get team news tomorrow morning. So yeah, 100 first week. I was pretty pleased with that. Captain Salah or Bruno? So Bruno is my captain. Salah is my captain for next week. Bruno vice captain. That's what I meant. With 96 points, you've got a rank of 633k. So like that's still a great rank. It's in the top. It's in the top 1 million, and that's what you need by game week 1. Sorry, I was Lukaku for Ings or Pogba or Benrahma for Calvin Phillips. Lukaku in for Ings. You've got a lot of money in the bank. So it depends. If you were having to play Calvin Phillips, then the combination of Pogba or Benrahma and Ings is better than Lukaku and Calvin Phillips. But if you only have to play one, I probably wouldn't be selling Ings either way, actually. Sorry, just got a Rubicon Mango. How are you all doing? Thank you all for joining so quickly. Is Willock a good differential? Yeah, I do like Willock. He was great for them last season. He'll come straight back into that starting lineup. Road to 11k for sure. Is this the last video before Game Week 2? Yeah, I won't, unfortunately, be doing a deadline stream tomorrow. I'm on a plane going on holiday tomorrow morning, so that will be this will be it. There will be no deadline stream. Oh, I have changed. I wish that was my current rank. I literally downloaded it and made it. Let me get it. There we go. Thanks, Gray. Cancelo or Diaz to give more points. If Cancelo starts, then it has to be Cancelo. If I was owning a Man City defender, I'd still go Cancelo. If he doesn't play, it's fine. You get someone off your bench. I just don't like Diaz that much anymore at this price. Now he's been up to 6 million. I'm going to Spain for a week. Buzzing, cannot wait. Bruno captaincy is something I've considered a lot. It's probably the one thing that I'm not 100% set on. Is who I'm going to put my captaincy armband on. No, my captain is on Salah trophy. It's the one thing I'm not set on is my captain for this game week. They're both good options. They both have a lot of potential for this week, and there's both upside and downside of both. So, do I think Thomas Tuchel plays Alonso or Chilwell? So Chilwell hasn't trained that much, so I do wonder if Alonso will play. Will play this week. I've had both jabs, so I don't have to isolate when I get back. Should I start Barnes and play with 3 defenders, or should I bench him and then start Tanganga? No, I'd play Barnes over Tanganga for sure. If I had Ferran Torres, what would I do? You're not selling Ferran Torres ahead of Norwich. Whether you think he's going to start or not, it's not worth a transfer, I don't think. I would be keeping him this week. I would be keeping him for sure. What am I doing when Simicast stops playing? I am got on my bench Ayling and Ben White. So as soon as they stop playing, which will probably be next week, well, I will have Ayling playing Burnley away, and he's got nice fixtures there as well. And Ben White has nice fixtures from that week as well. So I am in no way concerned when Simicast stops playing. I fully expected it to happen. I bought him to play him in the first 2 game weeks. It was part of my team structure, my plan. So, do I think Greenwood will start? I think Greenwood will start. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do think Greenwood will start. What should I do with Simicast after game week 3? Unless you need another defender, just sit him on your bench, to be honest. When does the price lock come off Lukaku? If it's not off him already, it'll be when the deadline passes tomorrow. Should you transfer out Sancho, and for who? Because you already lost 0.1. I think Sancho will start this week. If you've got Sancho, he's dropped in price already, so you may as well keep him for this game week. If you've got spare money, then going to Son next week, then great. But I wouldn't be selling Sancho. If you started with him, he should be starting next game week. Trent captain, yeah, I think Trent captain's a really interesting one. I do kind of expect a Liverpool clean sheet this weekend. It would probably be the way I'd predict the game to go. Then he's got bonus points in him. The explosive potential that Fernandes and Salah showed in game week 1 just means that they will be my captain. It's funny how everyone has virtually the same team. It's not much fun at all. Hopefully Kane goes City. It will change very quickly. Very quickly after 2 or 3 game weeks into the season, there'll be players we suddenly all want that we need to start changing. Those Villa fixtures will swing. We'll not want them. There'll be a player that blanks or a player that gets benched, and suddenly everything will start to change again. But at the moment, it is a bit similar. What's wrong with Tanganga? Nothing, but I just play Harvey Barnes before I play Tanganga. Do I have a plan to get Son if needed? At the moment, I don't. But next week, I'll have 2 free transfers. And then you can easily move around money if you've got 2 free transfers. I don't have that much money in my defence. So that's not too much of a concern. Shouldn't be too hard to get him in next week if I really needed to. But if my team's scoring points, whether I've got Son or not, it's not that much of a problem. And yes, Son may continue to score goals, but if the rest of my starting 11 are still scoring points, then you can't have them all. And as long as I'm doing okay with my rank, then it's fine. He is 10 million. And he does fall below Salah and Bruno in the pecking order for me. So he would have to be a 3rd premium, which then undoes the balance of the rest of my team. Why am I not keeping Ayling instead of Rafinha in the main team? There's no way that I am... Yeah, no way that I'm not starting Rafinha. I expect Everton to score. Everton scored 3 goals in game week 1. There's no chance that I think Ayling outscores him. If Barnes doesn't perform, which is perfect replacement within budget, you already have Greenwood and Benrahma. I still think Rafinha is a good pick. There are others that we could see, like Sarr, Willock, that I'd probably go down to. At 7 million, there's no one at that price. I'd go down to a 6 million. Start Ayling or Soufal. I'd go Soufal. The attacking threat is more from him. Do I have plans for if Rafinha and Salah miss games due to international duty? So I don't have official plans of I'm going to sell this player and buy that player. But my plan is to only use 1 transfer next week. Now, there's been a lot of chat about rolling a free transfer in game week 1 is so important. But I think rolling a free transfer into game week 4 is just as important this season because of that international break that we're not going to know whether these players can be back or not. So having 2 free transfers over the international break, being able to potentially do 3 free transfers there and take a -4 before game week 4 in case Salah's not there, in case Rafinha's not there, in case we need Jota in because he's going to play a big game for a couple of weeks. That's going to be just as important. So I'm going to try and only make 1 free transfer next week. Should you keep Rafinha? Yes. Yeah. Only make transfers. The biggest piece of advice I can give this week is only make transfers if you've got an injury or a player you are sure is not going to start. Otherwise, it's not worth it. Harvey Barnes, people are selling. No. Rafinha, people are selling. No. It's 1 game week. Just because they blanked in game week 1, don't do it. If you're selling Rafinha because he's blanked away at Manchester United in game week 1, then I question why people owned him in the first place. It's the hardest fixture he had for the first 3 game weeks. So I think Fernandes and Salah are both great captains. I just wouldn't be putting my captaincy armband on someone else. If you've got someone else, then great. But the other players like City assets are differentials enough, so I wouldn't be captaining them. You have to do 2 transfers. You want Son, but you're 1 mil short if you ship Mars. Easy downgrade Greenwood to facilitate. Yeah, I mean, it works and they're good moves. I mean, I don't have such an easy way to get Son in. It would probably have to be a -4 next week anyway, which I probably don't want to do. I am eyeing up Greenwood to Benrahma and Tony to Ings. Tony to Calvert-Lewin. Interesting couple of moves for me there, which I could do. But yeah, thank you to all the new subscribers as well while being live. For some reason they're not popping up. I don't quite know why. Why, if Barnes was always the punt spot? You still keep him for the first home for West Ham in game week 2. You still keep all these players. Do I think Southampton home game? Matt Cohen, thank you for subscribing. Will play. I think Greenwood will play until 70th minute, then Cavani will enter the pitch. Apparently he might not even travel. Alex, thank you for subscribing. Welcome, guys. Apparently there's a rumour that Cavani's not even going to travel. So yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned. Wouldn't be too concerned. You'll probably go Benrahma in for Greenwood. I mean, it's the next 2 for West Ham after this game week are so nice. Crystal Palace at home and Southampton away. So I won't do this so often. Aaron, thank you for subscribing because I know how much Simply FPL loves it, Sam. But there are 150 of you in here and only 25 likes. So if you could just like the stream, it would be much appreciated. It would be much appreciated if you could. Let's try and get up to over 50. Why not DCL? Well, DCL could come in for Tony for me if I went and downgraded Greenwood to Benrahma, Tony to Calvert-Lewin are definitely moves that I would consider doing. If rumour has heard is true, then he could play the full game. Yeah, I mean, whether he plays 75 minutes or he gets put out on the left-hand side and they sub Sancho off because he's not that fully fit, for example, or they sub a CDM off and put, like, they don't need a double pivot, for example, and they put Pogba in the midfield again and put Greenwood out on one side and Sancho out on the other. There are a lot of possible solutions that mean Greenwood doesn't get an early sub. Yeah, we will, before Christmas, Sam, we will have a double stream. You have my word on it. How come no City players for Norwich? I mean, it's just, I'm not using up a transfer for a player that I don't know is going to start. There's no one that I'm 100% confident if they're going to start. With who am I planning to replace Ings? So then it might be, if I don't get Calvert-Lewin in, Adil, thank you for subscribing. If I don't get Calvert-Lewin in for Tony, then in for Ings is quite possible. Salah, thank you very much for subscribing. Who am I planning to replace Ings? Yeah, opinions on Mount. I still think Mount. I don't think Mount is a particularly good FPL asset. In all honesty, I don't think he's the best FPL pick. I think it's simple as that. He's a great player and he'll tick along. He'll score 150, 160 points this season, but he's not very explosive. It's just not a player that I would ever really pick. Should you captain Salah or Mahrez? Salah for me. Mane to De Bruyne is not worth the risk, right? I wouldn't do it. Do I think Richarlison? I don't think De Bruyne's going to start. Do I think Richarlison can be an option over DCL? Yes, but there's that worry that Brazilians who go to international duty over the international break might not be fit for game week 4. And Calvert-Lewin, the way they play, it seems to be drilled to getting Calvert-Lewin goals with the way they're playing in game week 1. So I would still be going Calvert-Lewin if I was buying one of them. What about Benrahma in, Barnes out? I just wouldn't be doing it ahead of game week 2. Barnes, West Ham, they conceded twice to Newcastle. Leicester looked okay defensively. Then they can get Barnes, like you bought him for the start of the season. I would just keep it. They're playing against each other. What transfers am I thinking of doing next game week? So I'm keeping an eye on Greenwood just because we want to see what happens with Martial, what happens with Cavani, whether Greenwood's going to start. Rafinha is the other one. Again, I want to see what they do this weekend. They then have Burnley next week. Fine. If Tony blanks or Ings blanks, I'd probably say the 4 players that I'm considering selling are Greenwood, Tony, Ings and Rafinha. All the others I don't see myself selling. So, yeah, Richarlison should be on pens. This is true. Who to bench for game week 2, Rafinha or Tony? You really shouldn't be benching either of them. I don't know who you're starting in your team, but I wouldn't want to bench either of them. Samuli, welcome. How are we doing? I'm very well, thank you. Captain, why Salah? We saw home advantage be such a factor for game week 1. So I think I'm just backing that for game week 2. I do think Bruno is a good option for captaincy, but I'm going Salah at the moment. It is the one thing that could change in my team. Press conferences are done. I don't have any injuries. I'm happy with the bench. Fine. If someone gets injured, the one thing that could change, and I will post if I do, and that's captaincy between Salah and Fernandes. Salah's record against Burnley and in game week 2 and all that isn't that great. I don't think. But I am still think he's a very good option. Will I be doing team reveals on holiday? Twitter. I am very sad that I'm taking my laptop and my mic with me. I won't be streaming next week. I can promise you that. But I will do a team reveal video. I'll probably do 2 videos per normal. But if I'm sat by the pool, I can take my laptop. I can edit around by the pool. But yeah, I am taking it with me. The commitment is strong. You just bought Tanganga. Do you think it's a good replacement for Tsimikas when Robertson starts? He's not a bad option. I don't know. There is talk about Spurs still wanting to sign a right back. Their fixtures for the next few are not bad. He's a 4.5 option. It's fine. It's probably not where I'd want to use a transfer, but it's still not a bad pick at all. Yeah, I know. It should come up next to people, highlight them in yellow when they've liked the stream, because then you could just answer their questions. I started with Salah as captain and not changing it. Otherwise, I would... Literally, I find it so hard. I feel like I'm going to get it wrong whichever way I go, and I will be annoyed at myself for doing it. So, I mean, United are strong away games, so why not captain Bruno since he scored last season against Southampton? I don't put too much emphasis on what they've done against the teams they're playing. I don't think it's that much of a factor. I think current form and everything like that. I know. Maybe I'll do a hotel tour. I'll start vlogging, David. That'll be it. There won't be FPL content next week, but I'll vlog. It'll be really exciting because I'm going to sit on a beach for a week. But how many points for game week 1? I got 100. 100 on the nose. How about you, Aaron? Let me know how you guys got on if you haven't already. Should my team kit show in your lineup? No, it should just show on the right hand side. I don't quite know why they have it, but it's a thing. If you have to pick between Tony or Rafinha, who would I pick? I'm actually taking my work laptop with me in case I get stuck there and can't get home as well. If I had to pick between Rafinha or Tony, Rafinha, it would be Rafinha for me. Home fixture, it is against Everton. It's a harder fixture, but that Ellen Road crowd is going to be massive, especially given their result in game week 1. Should you transfer out Bertrand or wait till next week? It depends if you need him. If you don't need him this week, then just sit him on your bench and just wait for the transfer next week. If you want to play that player this week, then I'd do it. But if you've got anyone half decent to cover, then I wouldn't do it this week. I would just wait. Until when Rashford will start. I think Rashford's out until October, so you've got first 8 game weeks or so. Bishal, I will reveal my team every week. If you watch... Hossam, thank you. If you watch my content on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok, and you follow me in those 3 places, you'll see my team every week. So, my real name is Harry. For anyone who doesn't follow me on Twitter, what's the best time to make transfers before the price rises or at the end of the week? It's a little bit of both. It depends if you need to wait for the press conferences or not. It is best to wait as a general rule, but there are times that you can go early on it for sure. I won't be streaming next week. I don't think I will. You do have Harrison to cover Bertrand. Then I just play Harrison. Play Soufal or Brownhill. Soufal for sure. Nabs, thank you for subscribing. I think Greenwood will start until about game week 4. He probably doesn't have that much, and then he might start some. It's not like he's not going to start any, but he's probably not nailed to play every week. Would I start Ayling or Tierney? Thoughts on Greenwood captain? Greenwood's not a captain for me. He played well, could have had chances, he could get points, but he's not a captain option for me. And what was the other one? Ayling or Tierney? Arsenal have a tough fixture at home to Chelsea. I'd probably go Ayling. Sanchez or Schmeichel for the next 3 game weeks. Let's have a look what Fantasy Football Hub are saying. Defence for the next 3 only. Brighton come out on top. Leicester come down way at the bottom. So Sanchez. Ellen Road, the most intimidating stadium to go and play at. Yeah, I expect Leeds to win tomorrow, even after their performance in Game Week 1. Should you go Simicast or Cresswell? Simicast, if you're starting one this week. If you're buying one, then I wouldn't buy Simicast, but if you're looking to have one in your team, then it would be Simicast. Am I worried about having no City assets in my team? A little bit, but they're not that highly owned, and I don't know who's going to start, so I have no desire to get one in. So you doubt very much that Mr. Harry will appreciate you live streaming on holiday. Probably right. How did I decide between Salah captain? It's just that home. We saw how big home versus away was in Game Week 1. So yeah, it's just that for me. Funny question, how do I know the total number in your league? I can tell you the total number in my league. So anyone in my league is in with a chance of... I'm 2000th in my league. You're having a laugh. Wow. Let's scroll to the end, shall we? We'll see what the end is. Colm, thank you for subscribing. Evening Rubber Ducky, welcome. Can I do next page at the top? No. It's going to take me hours. I'll do it on my phone. It will probably be easier to swipe. Benrahma, good option. Yeah, he is. For sure he is. His price, I don't expect him to get 12 points. And if you're buying him expecting to get 12 points every week, then I think you'll be surprised. But he is a good option. Let me get my team back up. Is DCL being overlooked? He's definitely being talked about, but it's just that there are other forwards that we've got at the moment that are still scoring points. So... transfer for you? No transfer for me. No transfer for me. Can someone tell me which forwards to use? Ings, Antonio, Calvert-Lewin. Are Ferran Torres a City option? Yeah, he's still an option. I just don't know how much he's going to play. My worry is that he doesn't start. So, Barnes to Ferran Torres. Barnes to Ferran Torres. No, I wouldn't be doing that. I definitely wouldn't be doing that. I don't make transfers unless your player is not going to play. Simple as that. Don't make transfers if they're not going to start. Barnes is near to a price drop. I still wouldn't do it. Best two strikers. Antonio for sure has to be one of them. The other one's a bit up in the air. I do like Ings still for the next couple. Then Bamford's fixtures become quite nice. Antonio's the main one for me after Game Week 1. Sancho or Greenwood? I would go and buy... I wouldn't buy either of them, to be honest. Path, I wouldn't go buying either of them. Will Man U win the league? I don't think so. My reasoning for it is... Sorry, I'm a bit uncomfortable. My reasoning for it is that I just think their squad depth isn't as good as the likes of City and Chelsea. So when there's Champions League, they might struggle slightly, but they have a very nice run of fixtures when there's that latter stage of the Champions League on. So they could be all right. Rafinha brace against Everton. I'm definitely starting him. If you own Rafinha, he has to be in your starting 11. What about Tanganga? Tanganga is a good option at 4.5 million for sure. If you have him, great. But I wouldn't go buying 4.5 defenders as your transfers. There's more important things that you should probably do. There's more important things you should probably do. Grealish or Gundogan? Probably Grealish. I just realised that you can't see the bottom comment, can you? That should do it. Thank you, Walker Peters, for subscribing. We'll put that there for now. That should, now I can see the bottom comment. Tony or Calvert-Lewin. If I was buying one, I'd buy Calvert-Lewin. I wouldn't use the transfer to move between either of them, but if I was buying one, then I'd go Calvert-Lewin. Salah as captain or Bruno. Salah is my captain. You have 1.5 million in the bank. Should you upgrade Barnes to Greenwood? No. Don't go using transfers unless your players are not playing. Thoughts on Sancho? I think he's a great player. I wouldn't be buying him in FPL anytime soon at 9.5 million. I wouldn't be doing that, but he's got potential when he's a bit more embedded in that Man U team, but I don't see myself owning him very much this season. Start Soufal or Luka Dean. That's quite hard. Soufal very nearly had an assist. They're playing at home. I'd probably go favour the home defence. Any plans to get Son in? Not at the moment. How many transfers do you get normally as you save? So you get one transfer every week, and if you don't use it, you have 2 the next week, but you can only have a maximum of 2. So if I didn't use it again, I'd still only have 2. I'd support Chelsea. You did Barnes, Benrahma. No, it's a good move. I would have just waited a week, but it's still a good move. They're playing against each other, which is the bit I don't like. Rate this: Son, Fernandes, Salah, Rafinha, Antonio, Richarlison. Yeah, it's a very nice front 6. Ings to Jimenez and Mahrez to Son for game week 3. I mean, if Ings scores twice this week, if he scores this week, then you're not going to want to do that, are you? Jimenez's fixtures swing from the game week after, game week 4. So that Ings to Jimenez move doesn't feel quite worth it, but what is the blue circle? No, so this means that they were in the dream team for this week. So last week they were part of the highest scoring 11 that you could have picked. Antonio, Salah, Fernandes are all in there. You have Dallas instead of Rafinha for game week 3. Is it good? I mean, Dallas is a fine option. I think Rafinha will score more points this year, but Rafinha is $1 million more expensive. Ings to go first from the 3 strikers. Ings or Tony. I mean, it's very... I'm basing it on one game, aren't I? My rank is not correct. It is. So, was it a good idea to triple captain Bruno for game week 1? If not, why? I mean, in theory, in hindsight, it was. In hindsight, triple captioning Bruno game week 1 was a good decision. But it's his first hat-trick for United. Leeds just fell apart. I have no regrets. It was never even in my mind, so I wouldn't worry about it. You've already transferred in Tanganga to replace Tsimikas in the future because my defenders on the bench were poor. Fair enough. Tsimikas has a really nice fixture this week, though. Jimenez might go on international duty in game week 4. Again, worth remembering. International duty transfers. We might have players who miss game week 4 because they were quarantining when they come back. Would I pick Calvert-Lewin or Ings to play with Antonio up front? If I had to pick one to buy now, I'd buy Calvert-Lewin. Aston Villa were slightly below par. You thought Tony was fantastic in game week 1. He's going to score points this season. I'll be getting him in soon. Definitely not shipping him out. Yeah, they played slightly different style to what they'd done in the Championship is the only thing. I think it was because it was Arsenal and it was a big game first back. Tony was brilliant, but his goal threat wasn't that high. But I'm waiting and seeing on him for sure. Is it too risky to play with Ayling Rafinha in the same starting 11? No, if you've got no better defenders to play than Ayling, then go for it. But he's fine. He's not great. Phillips, how are we doing? But have I got a favoured replacement for Rafinha? I'm just completely... Let's have a look at some of their stats. But I am fully not selling Rafinha before this game week. I might go to Benrahma if he blanks again and Benrahma scores, because then the price changes will be... You'll probably get a 0.3 swing if you do that move next week. But Rafinha still had like 4.7 expected points. 2 shots, 1 inside. He had a big chance. 0.32 XG. Like his expected attacking points is like 0.29. How do I see? Like his XGA is at what? 0.8 almost there. So I still think he's not a bad option. But thank you for joining. Really enjoying your videos. How do I decide who's to captain between Salah and Bruno? Flip a coin. See who it is when it lands on it. If you're upset with the one it lands on, then you know you've made the wrong decision. If you're happy with the person it lands on, then go for it. Can you tell me exactly when the international breaks are? So it's after game week 3 is the first one. So this is Fantasy Football Hub. You can sign up in the description. Will Gundogan and Jota play this week? Should you take a hit? All my money is in the midfield. Not much cover in the bench. Will Gundogan and Jota play this week? I think they'll both be in the squad. Whether they start, I can't confirm that. I'm not 100% sure. I think you'll get at least one. Real Madridster, thank you. Calvert-Lewin not training yesterday. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. So, a little news conference from James Pearce, the Liverpool guy, on Twitter, basically saying Robertson is unlikely to play tomorrow, but he should be back for the game week after, which is what we expected. Which is what we expected. 102 points, yes, is very decent in game week 1. Congratulations. You're happy with your 91? Yeah, it's still a good score. As long as you're in the top 2 million after the game week 1, you've done well. Am I playing my soon wildcard? Probably between game weeks 5 and game week 8. You can't decide, should I go Rafinha or Sarr or Mbeumo in the middle? If you don't own any of them, I don't know who you've got. I wouldn't be making transfers unless you own someone who's injured or not going to start. Am I going to triple captain at some point in the season, but not this game week? No. For some reason, early kickoff captain always puts me off. You're not the only one. It is a slight worry for a lot of people. When would Kane start? I think game week 3 we might see him play, but MC Moyes, thank you for subscribing. Is 95 a decent score? Yes. 96 is very good. Trent for Son in the later game week. People are talking about downgrading Trent, but he's just such a good and consistent scorer. He will get you points. I'm in no rush to sell Trent. For game week 5 onwards, is it smart to triple up on Leeds with Bamford? You already have Harrison and Rafinha. Triple attack is a lot, but they are great price. They're really nicely priced for what you get from them. I'd wait and see. I'd hope their swing in form is slightly better than it was in game week 1. But it could be a really nice option. Keep Barnes or out for a City player. Torres, I'd just keep Barnes. We don't know Torres is going to start. He didn't have the best game week 1. When will we find out he's playing international matches in game week 4? Some point before game week 3. Am I superstitious about captain? I don't like a 12:30 kickoff captain, but it won't put me off. My rank last year, I finished just under 4,000 in the world. Would I keep Van Dijk? Yeah, I probably would. Do we come into your league with your week 1 score? Yeah, it starts. So if you join now, you'll still get the points from last week. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. If you guys are enjoying, we are just 20 likes away from hitting 100. And the YouTube algorithm loves when streams hit 100. They share it around a little bit more. So if you could just hit that like button if you are enjoying, if I've answered your question. Son or Fernandes for Lukaku by game week 7? I wouldn't want to be selling Bruno anytime soon after what he's shown in game week 1, but I'm not sure I would want to sell Son. I want to see a bit more from Lukaku. You've still got 6 weeks to decide about which option you're going to sell to get Lukaku in. There's too much time. It's not worth making that decision now. Rafinha and Wilson or Tony and Greenwood? I mean, for this game week, Tony and Greenwood, but long term, Rafinha and Wilson would be the 2 that I'd go with. Should you get Callum Wilson instead of Jota? I mean, it's transfers. I wouldn't be using transfers. But I wouldn't be using transfers. Your team is really good, and I'd just be worried about not having DCL or Richarlison. Yeah, the next couple of fixtures aren't as easy. So, yeah. 100 likes. Sam, you're going to get... YouTube are going to pick up on you. They're not going to like that. Any thoughts on transfers in for Benrahma? As I said, I don't think he'll pick up a 12-point haul. He scored his first header in 6 years. Only his second header in a professional career. His heat map isn't that great. But he's 6 million. Like, I don't think it's a rush to buy him when he's got Leicester in this game week. But after that, I may well be looking. And if I need to do a midfield transfer, it will likely be Benrahma that comes into my team. Could the Pep Roulette turn into the Tuchel Roulette? Yeah. It's very hard to predict, especially the wingers for Chelsea. Very hard to predict them every week. If you had to bring in either Benrahma or Salah, I'd bring in Benrahma. The fixtures are pretty even. It depends how long you want them for. Teddy, no problem. The fixtures for attack, who was it? That's probably too long. If we say we wildcard by sort of game week 7, the ones we've got in here, who are we talking about? Benrahma or Sarr? West Ham, Watford here. West Ham second. And then if we look on the advanced tab, predicted results, so predicted goals scored. Watford are predicted to score 6.8. They're predicted to score many more goals. The stats, even though Sarr is heavily involved, would favour Benrahma. Would favour a Watford asset. A West Ham asset even. You have hit the free hit coming off us 94 points. Sam, I wouldn't have hit your free hit, but if you're on it, I would have triple Liverpool. I would have triple Manchester United. I would still probably have Ivan Toney in there. I'd probably go triple Man City as well. I'd find a way. Triple Liverpool, triple United, triple City. That's 9 of them. Then probably Aston Villa defender if you can get one. And see what that money leaves you. Just go for the home teams and then United. That's what I'd be looking at. Thoughts on Dennis? Yeah, if he gets continued starts, he could be a really nice option at 5 million. I think it's just wait and see. They have so many forwards, and when Josh King comes back from injury, he'll surely go back into that starting lineup. Am I sure if you're bringing in Lukaku and not Fernandes? You're quite brave doing it. I think Lukaku's definitely got points in. I'd probably want Fernandes. Their next couple of fixtures are very nice compared to Chelsea's, but they can both score good points. What do I think about Salah to Son? Next game week, Salah will go on international duty. If it's one that people are talking about, doing Salah to Son. Son's fixtures are nice. Salah plays Chelsea. Then Salah might not play game week 4. If we had that confirmation before game week 3, I think it could be quite popular. Do I think you made a mistake for transferring in Tanganga? I don't think it's a mistake. Tanganga will play. I think Tsimikas will play this week though. Who would I transfer out if I was going to bring in Benrahma? Either Rafinha or Greenwood, depending on the news of how Rafinha performs, how Greenwood performs, Cavani, Martial coming back. A few moving parts in that midfield. Should you keep Havertz? Probably not. I mean, he's not a pressing transfer. I think he'll probably start against Arsenal, but he's probably not a player that I'd want long term at the moment. You have Lukaku from game week 1, and I had triple West Ham and no Bruno, but I wanted Bruno from this week. But what I think happens if Lingard signs? I wouldn't be confident owning Benrahma if Lingard signs. They play a very similar role. I don't necessarily think it's... He could play Benrahma outside, but they love Fornals. Moyes loves Fornals. Part of the reason I don't think Benrahma is a quick buy is because there is a chance that Lingard comes back. I don't know, when does the transfer window end? Is it still 2 weeks? End of the month. So just at the beginning of the international break. Rafinha missing game week 4. We don't know that yet. Thoughts on Salah from game week 3 and 4. They have a really nice run of fixtures. So if we look from game weeks 4, for example, I think they have a nice run. They play Norwich, Newcastle, Leeds, because they have Liverpool that makes it a bit harder. But Norwich, Newcastle, Leeds is a good run of fixtures, although a couple of them away. That's the Eggs Benedict we were talking about at the beginning of the stream. Ings to DCL or Buendia to Saar in game week 4. Ings to DCL or Buendia to Saar for game week 4. I mean, I'd rather keep Ings before I kept Buendia, but I mean, you're probably going to look at doing both at some point, aren't you? But I could only do one. I mean, we haven't seen Buendia play very much, so Ings to DCL is, I mean, Ings and Buendia or DCL and Saar. Ings and Saar or DCL and Buendia. I'd probably go Ings and Saar, to be honest, out of the two of them, but it's pretty close. Do I think Greenwood loses his place game week 3? I want to see how many minutes those like get this week. Is Martial fully fit? Is Cavani fully fit? It could be time to sell Greenwood. You're saving a transfer to do both. Yeah, exactly. Good option there. Veltman replacement. You have Ayling and Tsimikas already. The thing is, I'd probably keep Veltman unless you need him. If you need him this week, then it's quite hard. I don't think there are cheap defenders that I'd necessarily want to go with. I'd probably just roll it. He comes back, he's a good option. If not, from game week 4, Ben White. I still back their defence. You have 2 free transfers. It gives you more flexibility, your team. But you could downgrade someone and have a forward for a defender. Oh, you're answering someone's question. Got it. Sprinkle of, yeah, just a little bit of something on the top. Little something. Bro, why no Man City assets? You reckon Mahrez and KDB starts? I'm not sure on who starts, basically. And I'm not using a transfer to bring in a Man City asset for any of my players. Especially, I can't afford to bring one in for anyone apart from Salah or Bruno. And they're definitely not leaving my team. So, am I planning transfers game week 3? I have pretty much none in mind. I am eyeing up Ben Rama because West Ham's fixtures game week 3 and game week 4 are very nice, but I will need to wait and see what happens with players going on international duty and COVID and everything like that. But Crystal Palace at home, Southampton away, game weeks 3 and 4 is nice for West Ham. So Pedro, thank you for subscribing. You've got 0.5 in the bank, 112. Do I upgrade Obafemi to Dennis before I'm priced out? I wouldn't do it. If you're not going to play Dennis, I probably wouldn't do it. There's a chance that Dennis doesn't keep his place even after game week 1. I wouldn't do it unless you need that player to start. But am I going to transfer out Tsimikas in game week 3? Probably not. He'll sit on my bench. I'll play Ayling and Ben White from those weeks. They have a nice rotating fixtures. So from game week 3, where we play Burnley at home to Leeds away to Burnley. Then game week 4, we play Arsenal at home to Norwich. Game week 5, we play Leeds away at Newcastle. Or Arsenal away at Burnley. Like they rotate quite well, so I don't need to do anything with Tsimikas. It's not really worth a transfer for me. You've never been so settled with a team. I feel have to make a transfer next week. I think something will happen over this weekend that will make us clear about who we want to use our transfers on. Jota out or hold the transfer? Hold the transfer. You have Saar, and if I would change him, should I go in Buemo or Rafinha? I don't know why you change Saar. I wouldn't go changing him at all. Best Twitter accounts to follow the international call-up duties. I imagine Ben Dinnery will be on it very hot. So I'd probably go check out his page. There'll be a lot. It'll be all over Twitter as soon as it comes. Even if you don't follow the right person. It'll be shared very quickly by a lot of other people. Cool, we have reached the bottom of the chat. Keep firing your questions in a way. 7.3 million, that's very high already. That's a lot of players, which is good to see. You're going to play White against City in Game Week 3? Nope. I'll play Ayling against Burnley. I'll play Ayling against Burnley in Game Week 3, and then White can play Norwich in Game Week 4. Dennis or Soufal? Probably Dennis. Yeah. Dennis if you've got him. Any tips for someone who's already used their wildcard? Okay, so if you're on your wildcard now, Chelsea defence, Liverpool defence, Salah, Fernandes, I'd probably go Antonio, I'd probably go Benrahma, I'd probably get Calvert-Lewin in there, Rafinha, something like that. Have a look at who's coming. How do you look at it? I don't know how I'd find the person who's bottom. I don't know how I'd find the person who's bottom. I don't know how I would find the person who's bottom. I don't know how you can skip to the end. What are my thoughts around this claim? Southampton home games will make them more attacking and in turn open up at the back. Yeah, I see there's can be a lot in that. I'm still pretty 50-50 on my captain, to be honest. There's a lot to be put in for Salah and for Bruno. I haven't yet decided on which way around it will be. Start Dunk or Tsimikas? Probably Tsimikas. Shall I transfer out Barnes and Ings for Antonio and Greenwood? Will cost 4 points. I'd roll the transfer. What do I think of Greenwood to Ferran Torres? Nope. What do I think about Tony next games? And about Pinnock? I'd wait and see on Tony. I'm just still waiting and see how they set up for the next couple of games. Still think they're a good option. But I'm not forcing it with them. Can I start Tanganga for Game Week 3? You can. They have quite a nice fixture, so if you've got them, for sure. Which two in mid between Benrahma and Barnes and Rafinha? If I could only own two, Benrahma and Rafinha probably. Livramento, I don't know how often he's going to start. He started Game Week 1, but he might not keep his place. Game Week 2 and Game Week 3 onwards is worth keeping an eye on. Could be a good 4.0 defender though. Ever play Football Manager? My uncle got me hooked. I don't actually, and I haven't really played it. I've tried it a couple of times, but should you play Ayling or Dean? I'd play Dean. The attacking threat is higher for him. Is Gross a good differential? It's not my favourite pick, especially as he seems to be playing a bit defensively for Brighton. So I'd probably keep him this week. They're at home to Brighton and he takes set pieces and stuff, but I don't love him as a pick. Your team is very similar to yours, but I have Son and Grealish instead of Fernandes and Rafinha. Thoughts? I'm quite happy with Fernandes and Rafinha, to be honest, but either combo is good. Son did well. Grealish could easily do well Game Week 2, so keep or sell Jota for Mason Greenwood. I would just keep it. Alex, thank you for subscribing. I would just keep Jota. Don't go using the transfers. Greenwood will be a transfer out soon enough anyway. Thank you very much. So you're saying we sell Greenwood now? No, I'm not saying that at all. Not at all. Pramod, thank you and welcome. I'm not at all saying sell Greenwood. Nope. Am I going to pick Lukaku after Game Week 6? Maybe. Let's see how he does. Let's see how quickly he settles in. Do I think Cancelo starts? I think probably. He was in my predicted lineup for this week. So I can change Tony for Calvert-Lewin. Should I go or wait to see if Tony's future? Tony against Crystal Palace away is still a nice fixture. I wouldn't be rushing to make that transfer. Wait on your transfers. Thoughts on Sancho? Wouldn't be bringing him in. Also, you think Pogba will live up to the hype? It won't be long before Pogba's playing in central midfield, is my thought. And if he's playing there, he's not nearly as a good asset. Son to Mahrez? Definitely not. Definitely not. Who to replace Greenwood when Cavani returns? You already have Benrahma. I think that's quite hard. Sar's a good pick. I still think Rafinha will be a good pick. If Salah goes, then it could be Jota that we want to jump on. So, captain choice for game week 2 between Salah, Son, Salah, Bruno, Mahrez. I'd be on Salah at the moment. When should you use your Axel Fernandez? Thank you for subscribing. And when should you use your triple captain? Later in the season, there will be double game weeks where a team plays twice in one game week. So we'll save it for that. Any prize? Yeah, so if you're in my league code, every month there is a prize for who did well in that month. So not who's top at the end of the month, but who did well in that particular month. So I filter it to just points in September and who's top there. Rodrigo, a good option for a cheap striker when Leeds fixture turns. Yeah, 6.5, but I don't expect him to outscore Harrison and Rafinha at the same price. So I'd rather one of the midfielders. What about Mbeumo? He seems to be playing up front. It seems like a good option at 5.5 if he continues to play how he did against Arsenal. I just want to see with Brentford how much of their performance in Game Week 1 was because it was Game Week 1, they had Arsenal at home, new stadium, fans back, everything like that. The stadium was rocking. So I just want to see them a little bit more before I make my judgment. If Cavani gets called up for Uruguay, does Greenwood get more mins? Potentially. Potentially he does. Greenwood should have a nice rest over international break. When is it ideal to use wildcard? Up to you, really. I tend to use mine between sort of game weeks 5 and game week 8. Should you keep Barnes? Yes, I would just keep. What's the code for my league? It should be right there for you. There's also a link in the description which will automatically join you into that league. Salah, a bad record against Burnley. Wouldn't Bruno be the best choice for captain? I like the home fixture. If the original plan game week 0 was to captain Mahrez, should I stick or twist? I mean, I wouldn't if it was me. I wouldn't be captaining Mahrez even if I owned him this week. You went Son and Mahrez over Bruno and Rafinha. Should I stick with it? I would stick with it for this week with Mahrez playing against Norwich. Thoughts on Antonio as a differential captain? I probably wouldn't be using him as a differential captain for this week. It's Leicester. They were good defensively game week 1. I wouldn't be rushing to use a differential captain this early on. Hippo, welcome. How we doing? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Good to chat the other evening as well. I hope you are well. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Do you bench Dean or Soufal for this game week? I'd bench... I always favour the home defence at the start of the season, so I'd probably play Soufal. Have a similar team, but Reguilon for Rafinha. Thoughts? Reguilon's a good option. He's one I've spoken a little bit about recently. So, what to do with Gundogan? He should be fit, so there's no reason he shouldn't start. You really want Antonio, but you have DCL, Ings, and Tony. I mean, if you can get like Benrahma in your team and he can be used sort of to cover it a little bit. If you're happy with your 3, you can't own all the forwards. You can't own all the mids. You can't own all the defenders. You've just got to be happy with... If your players that you've got are scoring points, then that should be it. That should be what you're happy with. Is Pogba a bandwagon? He very much is, and I'm not jumping on him. I think he could easily have a very good game week 2, maybe even game week 3, but it won't be long before he's back playing central midfield. Sam, welcome. Do you reckon you should get Lukaku in? I wouldn't be bending over to get Lukaku in. I think there are other nice options you can get in midfield that you're probably going to have to take a -4 to get Lukaku in. So I definitely wouldn't be doing that. Thoughts on Chambers? So we don't know who's going to play right back for Arsenal. Bellerin could still get minutes if he doesn't leave. So he could be good. But my rank last season was 4,000. Salah has a bad record against Burnley, so why captain over Bruno? I've been through this a lot. It's home fixture. It is the one thing in my team that could change. Hold Barnes, yes. Hold Barnes. If you have 2 transfers and then use 1, then you get 2 again next week. You do, yeah. Ethan, thank you and welcome. Thank you and welcome. How come you choose Ben White? Is he a good option? They conceded very few goals last season, so he is a good defender. And they will keep clean sheets at some point in the season once they don't play Pablo Mari next to him. You got the same strikers as me. It's a very sort of template front line. It is, but how come I chose Ben White? Should I bring Lukaku in? Hold Barnes. Brighton play Gross. Any thoughts? I think he's not a player. I wouldn't be buying in Gross. I wouldn't be buying him in, but he's a fine option. Fine, I would say. If you've got him, keep him. But I wouldn't be buying him in for sure. Better options. One Rover Vlogs. How are we doing, Charlie? Nice to see you. Keep smashing the content. Great to see your channel doing well. Thank you. And yours. And you. Keep it up. Should you play Simicast or Soufal in Game Week 3? It'll be Soufal for sure. Simicast will play Chelsea, so you don't want that. You don't want that. Cool. Well, it is 7 o'clock. That was the hour stream that I had planned. Of course, I will be around on Twitter. Feel free to DM me any questions that you guys have, and I'll do my best to answer them ahead of the deadline. If you haven't watched my team selection video, that's my Egg Benedict. You don't want to see that. Let me go on YouTube and we'll put the link in the chat for you all. If you don't know where my Twitter is, there's a link in the description which will take you to all of my socials. You can go and check them all out. What? Ooh, that was loud, and I don't know if I'll get copyrighted for that, but that is all we got time for. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you all very soon. Good luck in Game Week 2. Good luck. I hope it goes well for you all. Let me know who your captain is and everything like that. We'll be back again next week with team selection videos for you all. Good luck, everyone. Message me on Twitter if you need any questions or anything like that. I haven't answered. My DMs are always open, although I kind of regretted that today with some slightly unpleasant comments. But we move on from them. Thank you all, and I will see you all very soon.